So this week on the Daily Dose, we are actually looking at some of the best college football and NFL quarterback battles. And we have 4 more NFL teams that are still trying to find their starting quarterback for the upcoming season. And one of these teams has a pretty good roster, and they've definitely got playoff aspirations, but they have some things to figure out before we get to that point. First off, though, let's start off with a team that doesn't have playoff aspirations. Because the Atlanta Falcons, they're a hot mess. The defense is always a problem. And then, this past offseason, they went and traded quarterback Matt Ryan away. So, now you have a battle for the starting quarterback job, but it's between 3 players that, honestly, probably shouldn't be starting anywhere. First, we have quarterback Marcus Mariota. Hey, we all remember when Mariota came out of Oregon, he went to Tennessee, and we were all looking at him saying, hey, he has the tools, he's got the arm, he's got the ability, he's got the elusiveness. Maybe he's going to be the guy. He seems like a decent dude. But he never did much of anything. Never really turned out. Then he ended up with the Raiders, and he also did nothing there. So right now, he looks like the leading candidate to take over in Atlanta. That's not a good sign. Then you have the rookie out of Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder. Hey, I like some of what Ridder brings to the table, but he doesn't strike me as being NFL ready just yet. I'm not sure if he's ever going to be NFL ready. The problem that I see in Ridder, he struggles a little bit to throw off the run, which is odd because he's kind of a scrambler kind of guy, but his accuracy really, really drops. So I like some of his scrambling ability. I'm just not sure he can throw it accurately when he does scramble. I suppose we could also throw second-year quarterback Felipe Franks into the mix. Is he ready? No, probably not. But are any of these guys? I strongly doubt it. I think Marcus Mariota wins the starting job in Atlanta. But I mean, honestly, who knows? It could be any of the 3. And the bottom line is that I think whoever wins it is going to get beat up a lot. And remember that defense, it's never, ever good. So not going to be a good situation in Atlanta all the way around. Next up, we have the quarterback battle going on in the NFL that might be one of the closest of all of them. The Carolina Panthers brought in Sam Darnold last year thinking, well, he's been stuck with the New York Jets. He needs a new atmosphere. It's not that he can't play. It's just that he has to get out of New York, and then he'll magically be good. He was not. He started strong. It looked like, man, the Jets really missed out. Sam Darnold can play. And then he faded really, really fast. So this season, the Panthers went out and they brought in Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield. So far, it sounds like Mayfield is actually beating out Darnold. I expect Baker Mayfield to take this job. Remember, with Cleveland, when he was healthy, there were times he looked like a real quarterback. The problem is he's not often healthy. And the problem in Carolina is going to be keeping him healthy. So that could be a struggle. Now, I think Baker ends up winning the job. I think he'll be better than Sam Darnold. But at times, we know Baker can struggle. And when he does, I fully expect Darnold to go into the game and immediately make everything worse. But a very, very interesting battle shaping up with the Carolina Panthers. Now, next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers, who are widely considered to be maybe a top 5 team in the NFL. They have a ton of talent all over the field. Defense, offense, skill position, they've got a lot. The problem is that we still aren't exactly sure what they're going to do at the quarterback spot because they do still have Jimmy Garoppolo. By the way, is there anybody in the league? Is there another quarterback in the league right now that is more forgotten than Jimmy Garoppolo? They're like, oh yeah, who does San Francisco have again? Oh yeah, he's gone to the Super Bowl. Like he's done some things, and yet it's really hard to remember that he's even there. But they also have Trey Lance, and they are big on Trey Lance. I believe that front office really wants to turn the keys over to Trey Lance. But how do you do that? You don't want to cut Jimmy G, because if you do, he could go sign with a rival. And there is a rival team that could desperately need him. But can you trade and get anything for Jimmy Garoppolo? Well, he's been hurt. He had that shoulder injury, and he hasn't really thrown. So what I think they have to do, my guess is San Francisco plays Garoppolo in a few preseason games. And then if he shows he can still throw it, they ship him off for whatever they can get, and they turn the keys over to Trey Lance. However, there is one thing that will throw a major wrench into the works. If Trey Lance goes out in the preseason and he doesn't play well, well, then what do? You're going to be stuck with Jimmy G, and you're going to have to give Trey another year to hopefully learn, hopefully figure things out. This battle, to me, is the most interesting of all to watch, because we're not talking about a cellar-dweller team. We're talking about one of the best teams in the league, but can they figure out their quarterback? That is going to be hugely important to their season. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have another team that honestly is probably going to be among the worst teams in the NFL. And one of the major reasons, not the only reason, but one of the big reasons, is because they flat out do not have a quarterback. They did, but they don't anymore. Because the Seattle Seahawks traded Russell Wilson to Denver, thank you, in return for a few draft picks, a couple of players, and quarterback Drew Lock. So everyone around the nation in sports media, I know here in Denver, they were saying the same thing. Well, maybe Drew Lock is going to go to Seattle and flourish. The problem in Denver wasn't Drew Lock. It was the coaching staff. It was Vic Fangio. It was the offense. It was the offensive coordinator. They made up a lot of excuses for Drew Lock. Look, I watched every snap that fool took in Denver. You could put him in like Air Coryell's offense. He isn't going to be good. You know why? He's not very good at playing football. So when he went to Seattle, I was going, okay, first off, good riddance. Bring us Russ. But second off, if you think he's going to go up there and just blow up, I think you probably haven't watched him very much. Now, right now, going into this preseason, they are saying that Drew Lock isn't even going to be the starter. They're saying he's getting beat out by Geno Smith. Now, I want you to stop. I want you to think about that for a second. Geno Smith is beating out someone. I mean, I'm not even mad. That is remarkable. I wasn't aware that he could beat out anyone, but here we are. The problem, again, Drew Lock, it's not an arm thing. It's not a legs thing. It's a brain thing. Doesn't make good decisions. Doesn't have any poise or presence in the pocket. And then, and this is big, doesn't hold on to the football. I'm not talking about holding on to it to pass. I'm talking about he'll be in the pocket and then he'll drop the ball like it's hot. That's a really, really odd characteristic of a quarterback who you are hoping is going to do something for your franchise. Hey, these quarterback situations, they can change at any second. You could see an injury. You could see the starter go down. You could see the backup go down. You could see an offensive lineman or a skill position guy go down. And you know, it might not be the quarterback, but it's going to affect that quarterback. Hey, naming that starter can completely change the outcome of your season. You name a player to be your starting quarterback that the team doesn't want, you run the risk of losing your locker room. You name a player that the fans don't want, you may run the risk of losing your home crowd because they become hostile, and every time that player makes a mistake, they're screaming for the backup. They're booing you. Hey, it's not easy. This is what those coaches get paid the big bucks for. Hey, no big deal. Go pick a quarterback. It's just your career, right? Okay, YouTube, be sure you go over and check out the rest of the podcast, because this week on The Dose, like you can see, we are talking about some NFL quarterback battles, but we also are talking some college football battles too. There's a few big-time blue blood college football programs. They still don't know who their quarterback is going to be. We've got some breaking news, talk a few different subjects, and we have our Daily Dose Top 5, and it's a little bit high school football related, so you got to make sure you go over and you check out the full podcast. I will leave a link here in the comments on YouTube for you. Hope you all are doing well. I will see you all next Wednesday. Have a great week.